And hello and welcome to another edition of the Baseball Talk Radio Show. I'm Gary Mack.
And I'm Rich Baxter. How you doing, Gary?
All right, Rich. And we are one day away. Today is Wednesday. We record this. Tomorrow, some teams will be opening. Friday, everybody will be opening them up, or they'll be open by then. And we are going to have some Major League Baseball under some very weird circumstances.
Yeah, I managed to tune into a little bit of the preseason games with the teams matching up, usually locally. I saw your Mets and the Yankees going at it, the Phillies and the Orioles. It was pretty fun, the Phillies and the Yankees, of course. But, we talked a little bit before the show. I'm still a little underwhelmed with this product.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the product, if it's the same players more or less out there. But I think there's no atmosphere, and I think that hurts it a lot when you watch a game. I mean, the cardboard cutouts, maybe a good idea to raise some money for charity. It does. Maybe it helps the players a little bit because they see something other than blank seats, but man, it's a little weird.
Yeah, as you said, it's quiet, especially, listening to it on television because nobody's at the stadium. The first Phillies game I listened to was incredibly boring. I mean, they didn't have any field noise mixed into the mix. It was like, it was very quiet. The announcers seemed like they were locked in a room somewhere while they were calling the game. And there was just like, let a mic open up out in center field or something with some air blowing into it. So you give the ambiance of a game,
Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't seen any of the cardboard cutouts yet, but yeah, I don't think they need to do that really. I mean, maybe just for the pitcher behind home plate, maybe. I don't know. I just, this is one of those seasons where it's going to be a unique season. Definitely an asterisk season. I don't know how much weight you can throw into this season. It's going to be baseball, but not as we recognize it in the National League.
Yeah.
And I've been underwhelmed. I'm glad that it's going to happen. Baseball is baseball. It's fun to watch. But as you said, it's not much atmosphere. The fans, you don't realize how much the fans contribute to this game.
And it's going to get weirder as we go on, and that's going to be my next story about a weird part of the season. That's probably going to be something you only see this year. But we were talking before we started the recording, and that I was watching the Dodgers and the Angels last night. And they even had the Dodgers had some cutouts in the outfield. So I guess if the outfield is going back on a ball, he sees these people, I guess, and they had it, smattered all around the stadium. Mostly on the lower deck, and as you said, mostly behind home plate. But what I did notice was none of the cutouts had masks on, and they were not socially distanced apart. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it.
Okay, well, we're going to have to give them 2 demerits for that.
And so we're hoping that no cutouts come down with the COVID virus, because that would be bad for baseball. But look, they're going to go ahead and play. A lot of people have opted out. Number of people. It was another one this week, Colin McHugh of the Boston Red Sox. And I don't know if we talked about it on this show, but he would have actually had to pay the Red Sox money to play. So I am imagining that's why he opted out. What he had signed for and had made the team, and with all the mathematics of reducing pay, he actually was overpaid by the Red Sox. So had he played, he would have had to pay them back some money, whether or not they would have gone for that. But it's just going to be a strange season. They were talking last night again about how a 3-game winning streak would equal an 8-game winning streak in a 162 game season. So you can fall out of a race mighty quick in this setup, these 60 games.
Yeah, it's not going to be anything that we've ever had to witness before. And who knows? It could lead a surprise team into the lead of baseball, some team that gets hot at a certain time. Of course, all the teams start out at 0-0, but maybe it'll be good for some of these teams that aren't the powerhouses, like the Marlins, or a team like Cincinnati Reds, somebody we haven't heard about making the playoffs in a long time, and all of a sudden, can pull it together for a short season, if nothing else. So it certainly will be interesting. I don't know how much my interest will pick up in the season, though, my personal interest in it. Because, like I said, I mean, we've been looking forward to this since spring. Now it's almost the end of July, and it's like too little, too late. Um, Not enough pizzazz, and we still have that thing that you just mentioned. The COVID-19 seems to be getting worse across the country. Um, it's not good.
Well, you might even say it's across the continent. We almost, if it, well, we could still have it, but we could have a homeless team, Rich, because the government of Canada, the federal government, is not allowing the Toronto Blue Jays to play baseball in Canada. Now they're allowing the hockey. They made a special dispensation, but they said because they're not traveling as much, they'll allow hockey to be played there. But the Blue Jays do not have a home to play now. As of today, so far, the latest news is that they will play most of their home games in Pittsburgh, which is an odd. I don't know how they ended up there, but that is pending the approval of the state of Pennsylvania. So Toronto could have a home. The Pittsburgh Blue Jays, I guess, they'll be called for this season. I doubt if they'll change their uniforms and everything, but they think it can be done. They were looking into Buffalo, which would have made a lot of sense, which is their AAA team, and there's no minor league ball this year, so they could have played there, and it's right across the river practically from Toronto. Would have made a lot of sense, but the field isn't adequate up to major league standards, and the players apparently took a vote and wanted to play in a major league ballpark, so they've been scouring around. It looks like they've landed on Pittsburgh PNC Park. The schedules are almost perfect for them to play. When their home games would be when Pittsburgh's on the road and so forth. I think until September 3rd. There's an article in ESPN .com if you'd like to read it, that explains all the machinations. They could play some of the games in Yankee Stadium because the Yankees will be on the road, and then they can go there because they're playing the Mets at one point, so they could play the next series or something at Yankee Stadium. So, but most of the home games, it looks like it's going to be played in Pittsburgh if the state approves it.
Yeah, that's amazing. I don't see how the Canadian government can allow the NHL to play, but they'll disallow the MLB to play just a team that's playing in the stadium with no fans. I don't get the association between the the difference.
Well,
It's just illogical to me that a Canadian government would make such a stupid move like
I
this.
think because they're playing in a bubble more. I don't know how the NHL's laying it out, but I believe the explanation was they're not going to be traveling to the States and back, whereas Toronto will be constantly going back and forth into the States and back into Canada, and they don't want to bring the virus back in from the States. Apparently, with the hockey, as I said, they're doing perhaps they're doing something like basketball's doing. They are in a bubble more, and their travel will be controlled more. So, no idea how that what the playoffs are going to be like, but that's the reasoning. I believe from the federal government. I'm sure there's you can find it online if anybody's interested. But that's what they're saying, and it's kind of weird when you think about it. But that's this is a weird season.
Yeah, yeah. So for what it's worth, there, any Toronto fan will now have to travel to Pittsburgh. I think it's humorous, the fish that ate Pittsburgh, or
Yeah,
something like that.
and other weird things. Think about it. I mean, 60-game season. A starting pitcher is probably 12 starts, maybe the number one pitcher, the number two, and maybe the number three pitcher might get 12 starts on a season. You can win 7 games and win the Cy Young Award this year. It's going to be really strange. See, you may even go 6-6 and win a Cy Young Award if your ERA is good. I mean, it's really there's a lot of strange things. Numbers are going to be awful skewed, and like you said, they're going to have to put asterisk on everything because you got to explain it in the record books. I mean, if somebody, I was thinking this the other day, somebody could hit 15 homers, might be the equivalent of 45 or 50. I mean, I haven't done the math. I don't know. I'm just taking a guess. But you could hit 15 homers and lead the league in home runs. And are we going, it's going to look in the record book if somebody came from Mars and didn't know what was going on. It's going to look like the dead ball era again,
Yeah,
So, I
yeah,
mean, there's going to have to be asterisk for everything in there. And some of the records will be credible and some won't be.
yeah. Now, the Philadelphia Phillies used to be called the Blue Jays back in World War II time. So it's a shame that Toronto didn't maybe associate that with the Phillies. I'm sure the Philadelphia would have took them in easily
Yeah.
on that, but yeah, that's a strange situation. It's so political from Toronto and the government of Canada there. I don't think a baseball team traveling to the United States when you've got, there's no blockage of travel from Canada to the U.S. that I'm aware of from the regular citizens. So you're going to block an MLB team from traveling to different areas? It makes no sense to me.
I,
But
I'm not sure. I know New York is putting quarantines on everybody. If you're traveling here, you got to go. You got to sign a thing that says you're going to be 2 weeks quarantined, and that's not good for business. I mean, there's some people fly in for business for a business meeting and stuff. Um, that's not going to happen now. you know.
plus, it's going to be something that's non enforceable, um, basically.
Well, our governor says he's going to enforce it, or my governor, I should say. I don't know how, but I guess they'll send the police after them. Instead of
Arrest them.
quelling the looting and the riots, they'll look for
Yeah,
those people that are not. You're not sequestered. You're not
they'll spend
quarantined.
all that work, and meanwhile, like you said, that's amazing. But
Yeah.
along the other lines, another story coming out of this shortened season is one of your Mets players, Gary Pete Alonso, aligning himself with YouTube. He's going to be mic'd up all season long for a special YouTube series. So this is going to be different. He already has his own YouTube channel, but this is going to be something that he's partnering on with YouTube itself, and they'll be producing it. Hopefully, he'll be having conversations with some of the players, but that's kind of unique as well, having a mic on the whole season and, no fans in the stadium. It's going to be very interesting.
Well, at least he'll have conversations with players. He's not having conversations with me. I was one of the first in New York to interview him when he was in the minor leagues, and now I can't get a response back. But they're going to try different things, and I guess this is the season to do it. If you're going to try to wacky stuff, the mic into the players, my problem with it is they're going to overkill it.
Right.
It worked great in the All-Star game because it was different. And it's once a year, and it's the All-Star game. So you can see Mike Trout maybe having a conversation with Freddie Freeman or something you won't see every day. If they do it every day, it's going to take the thrill out of it. It's like interleague play. They did it. It was exciting at first, but now it's just plain boring.
Yeah.
They tend to take a good idea, and there are a lot of people that don't like it. I liked it at the All-Star game, and I thought that's the perfect game for it because it's not highly rated and anymore. It used to be a big thing when I was a kid, but if they beat it to the ground, then it'll just make them look bad again. And I don't know, but it's good for him for doing something like this, and it should be interesting.
Yeah, it says here in a New York Daily News article back in March, Alonso revealed hilarious details about his conversations with opposing players. Cubs third baseman Chris Bryant asked Alonso what bat he was using and if the first baseman wouldn't mind sending him the same bat because it was clear he was clearly getting positive results at the plate. Another conversation was with Braves first baseman Freddie Freeman about their mutual passion for wine. Alonso said, quote, he's a big wino of Freeman. And, quote, I love wine too. We had an off day before I had asked him, how was your day off? He said, great. We had a lovely bottle of wine. So maybe we'll get stuff like that during the season.
Maybe we'll get some courses on what to drink when.
Yeah. These superstars, their tastes and things like that. But and out in the West Coast, some controversy. One of the big stars of the Dodgers, future stars, Gavin Lux, given a pass to go back down to the minors just 2 days before the season opened. Yesterday, giving him a trip back to the minor leagues and faced a lot of criticism, did the Dodgers, on this one. He was expected to be in the MLB, 22 years old, but he will not be.
Wow, yeah, it's kind of a shocker. Everybody thought that he was going to make it this year, and I guess they figured they don't want to waste it on a 60-game season, Maybe he's got a little nagging injury, too, that they're not saying, that they don't want to talk about. Who knows? But, yeah, that is kind of a big shocker.
Yeah, so without this Gavin Lux there, second base will be split between some of the well-known Dodgers players, Max Muncy, Kike Hernandez among them. So looks like the Dodger folks will have to wait till 21 to see Gavin Lux.
Yeah. Well, they're stacked, so they're not going to have any problem not seeing them. But, Rich, a couple of big free agent signings, too, that are not getting off to the best start, and the people may not see them in their new homes. Anthony Rendon was sidelined on Sunday. He's suffering from an oblique soreness. and manager Joe Madden said it's unclear whether or not he'll be ready for opening day. So Rendon signed that big contract with the Los Angeles Angels, leaving the Washington Nationals. And here he got injured in the game. He's been battling this for a while now, and sat it out again last week. And it looks like he may not be ready for opening day.
Yeah, it's a big setback for the Angels, who they're long overdue for getting into the playoffs. They added a longtime manager from the Cubs in the offseason, got him. That was a good signing. Back to his roots out there on the West Coast. But yeah, we need to have some of them Angels teams in the playoffs. We got to see some Mike Trout action.
Yeah, it's good for the game if they get Mike Trout in there. And somebody else that was a big signee over the winter, Rich, and somebody that you're familiar with, left-handed Cole Hamels. He is not ready to go with the he signed a big contract or a nice contract with the Atlanta Braves. He's dealt with shoulder inflammation during spring training and has recently battled triceps tendonitis, therefore preventing him from facing live hitters over the past several months. And with this season short, Rich, how much, how much are we going to get to see Cole Hamels if he's out a week? You're out a week or two. You're missing. I mean, it could be 10 games. That's a fifth of the season or a sixth of the season right there.
Yeah, and that could be the career for Cole Hamels. He's not getting any younger. He's probably one of the few last Philly players from that '08 team to still be playing in the MLB. But yeah, that could be, if he doesn't come back at all during this season, it could be his last, possibly.
And yeah, could be. And the Braves also having some issues. Freddie Freeman has returned to camp. He was out with COVID-19, and he is now healthy and back in camp. But whether he will be ready for opening day, we don't know. And they were going to sign Yasiel Puig, but he was diagnosed with COVID-19, so Puig remains a free agent.
Interesting. Some political news seeping into baseball. We didn't see this at all last year or years previous. But the Cincinnati Reds, apparently, some of the players took a kneel during the national anthem yesterday in a game between the Reds and the Tigers, exhibition game. About 4 to 5 Cincinnati players took it upon themselves to take a knee. Among them, Amir Garrett, Joey Votto, Philip Ervin, and Alex Blandino. So that's another thing. If that goes on this year, I really think a lot of television sets may be turned off.
I agree with you. A number of San Francisco Giants did the same thing, and look, it's a tough, touchy subject, and I don't know if we want to get into it on this show, but I don't think it's the right thing to do. I as far as I'm concerned, when you put on a uniform, you represent that team, and your individuality. You can talk about what you want to talk after the game. You can talk about on your off day. You can go to protest. You can do whatever you want to do, but let's not bring it on the field. That's a totally different thing. Um, and I don't think it belongs in any sport at all. I don't think it helps. I don't think it puts the player in a favorable light, as you say. I think you're going to hear a lot of clicking, or people are going to tune in late because they don't want to watch the national anthem anymore. I know that when it gets back to games, it's going to be very touchy. What are they going to
And
do in
we
opening
don't,
day?
as a fan, do you really particularly care what a player likes to eat for dinner, what he likes to drink at night, what he likes, I don't particularly care. I just want to watch a baseball game. And as you said, I don't want to be politicized one way or the other.
Right. Well,
I mean,
to answer your question, I don't care. But believe it or not, there are a lot of people that are involved. If you go, I'm on a number of groups on Facebook, and there are people that actually want to know all the personal details about these players. If I was friendly with one, I would want to know, but I'm not particularly, friendly with any of them. So I don't really want to know what, as you say, what they drink. I mean, if I read it somewhere and it's, well, that's interesting. But I'm not going to search for it. But there are a lot of people that do, and there are a lot of people that easily susceptible to what a player says. If a player says he's going to vote a certain way, there are people that will vote that way because that player's voting that way, or they believe in this thing because of whatever. Um, and I think that's a danger because they're just people too. Use your own mind and think of what you want in life. But a lot of people tied up into sports and we're big sports fans, let's face it. But I think that a lot of people, it is their, and I know some people like this, it's their entire life almost. They work, and they watch sports, and that's what they talk about. It's not a necessarily good thing, and to me it's a big turn off to, and I think it's disrespecting the flag and the national anthem. I'm sorry, you can disagree with me all you want, that's fine, that's what we're all about. But that's the way I feel. And
yeah, and I thought baseball handled it well over the past year or two in particular. Um, they didn't seem to get entangled with this, but it's today's mojo, it's today's momentum, so to speak, in the social media. Um, but I can guarantee you, if it goes on this year in baseball, you're going to have a lot of fans just turn off the channel and not even tune into the games. It'll be a situation like another sport. They just It's just too much. It's overwhelming. They don't want to. They're watching a sport to get away from all this, political stuff,
right.
and hopefully it won't take a foothold in baseball, because it will be real bad for baseball.
And the only thing I will say is that baseball is a type of game that, because of the way it's structured, technically you could turn it on a half an hour after the start of the game and figure out what the heck is going on. You know what I mean? Unless it's you get one of these early blowouts where they're hitting like crazy in the first, second innings. But usually a lot of games are 1-0, 2-0 in the third inning, nothing, nothing, that sort of thing. So you can skip all that nonsense and still catch most of the game. And I think that's what a lot of people may opt out of, to do, because of the situation. But I know we're on a time schedule, so I don't know if you have anything else, any other stories that you want to get to today.
Um, well, as you said, we're only a couple days away from baseball opening day. It's going to be a big to do. Looking forward to it a little bit. Where things start to matter and count, then we can see how this season will shape up. So we got to this point. I think it's a big sort of, for a baseball fan, it's a celebration time because we've been bemoaning the fact that we have no baseball to watch. We've had to put up with these stupid, endless computer matchups for months. And, when you're quarantined at home, yeah, you'll look for anything to keep you amused. And that served the purpose for a couple weeks. But after a while, I got to read another computer simulation. So now we'll have some real live baseball to watch. I just hope all the players stay healthy and our listeners as well. Like, I hope you guys are doing well out there. We heard from a couple of you, our longtime listeners and our good friends that have been friends with us since we started this podcast. And it's just great to see everybody doing well. And I hope it continues, and stay healthy, wash the hands, wear the masks. And remember, we're still in a pandemic, but we're going to have baseball.
That's right. Wear your mask. Rich has got his lucky Philly masks, and
right here, as a matter of fact,
it's helping it's helping him in his business too. So
I can breathe better in these Phillies masks. I think they're made with material from a baseball jersey, believe it or not. And those jerseys aren't cheap, but for those watching the video of the YouTube channel, I just put on the mask a little bit here, and you can breathe a lot nicer. I don't know if it's going to block any viruses.
Well, it's got to do something. I got my mask, my Mets mask.
Got your Mets colors going.
There you go. So wear that mask, and as Rich said, wash your hands and keep socially distanced, and we'll knock this one out. And Rich, we're almost there, so we'll have more to talk about as we go along. And if you'd like to help out the show, go to anchor.fm, Baseball Talk Radio, and it'll show you how to leave your support there, a small donation for the show, or check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/baseball talk, and whatever you can do to help the show will help us to improve and keep the show on the road, so to speak. So Rich, have yourself a good week, and
one more. Can I add one more to that?
Go ahead.
If you like the show, you've been listening for a long time, we'd appreciate if you're on Apple Podcasts, write us a review, give us a nice 4-star or 5-star review. We appreciate it because every extra review gets us a little more listenership. And as Gary said, stop by our main site at anchor.fm/baseball talk radio show, all one word, or just Google it. And you can support us there. Link to different places that we are on the web, and we appreciate your support.
And we will see you all again next time on another edition of the Baseball Talk Radio Show.